I'm now going to cover some of the aspects of health and safety for the Dominica project. So there's just a few things I want to bear in mind. And I can remember when I did my first project with Operation Wallacea many, many years ago, I wasn't that worried about health and safety, but of course my parents were. And I imagine that's probably the same thing when it comes to students and parents listening to this presentation as well. So I'm just going to go through a few things, but if at any point anybody has any queries, please feel free to contact me. So one of the things that's really important is the training of students. So we obviously prepare these training presentations that we're going through now with the kit list and everything, make sure you've got everything you need. But then when you get to site, we will have health and safety talks out on the project and how to look after yourself. Really, the most likely things health and safety wise to happen on a project like this are things like people getting stomach bugs if they aren't washing their hands properly, people getting blisters on their feet if your boots aren't worn in, like these types of things. But we put lots of other things in place just in case anything else does happen. So risk assessments and all these health and safety documentation I'm talking about is on these training pages that we've provided for you. So the risk assessments are really important. We basically look at every risk there could be in the project and how we're going to avoid that. So that goes from the cars you go in, the camps, the diving, the surveys you go on, all sorts of stuff. And I actually audit these every few weeks as well. So I make sure that we stay up to our levels of safety throughout the season, throughout the time that we're out in Dominica. I also look at how the risks change. You know, things can change. We don't just write these documents and then think that that's it, done for 10 years. Things can change. You know, weather might affect how we can use certain paths in the forest, areas of the forest we can go to, all sorts of things. So we need to just keep up to date with being dynamic and thinking about how the risk can change and keeping up to date with that. Medical cover so your insurance with Operation Wallacea completely covers you. So it covers you from a medical perspective. If you needed any treatment out on the project, even if you were unwell and needed to go back to your home country, that would be covered. And we also, our insurance policy covers baggage and everything else that goes with that as well. So communications for Dominica. I've talked about how we're not going to have internet. So, you know, it makes communication a little bit more difficult. We do have phone signal across the island. Everyone should have my email address, and if not, I've put it at the end of this presentation. So we basically have a series of mobile phones. All staff will have mobile phones every time they take staff members, students out. And we also have a sign in and sign out board, so I know where everybody is at all times. If you're going out on the boat, when you get to the marine site, we have a system of radios. So there's a radio on the boat and back at base as well. So we always have communication, basically. It's not going to be that your child's going to call you up and have a chat with you every day, but we have communication there if it's needed. And we also have emergency evacuation plans in place. So for every point you are on the island, we have a plan to be able to get you out of there and into medical facilities quickly. So we've put that all in place. The main thing for Dominica, it's a small island and we're very close to medical facilities throughout your whole trip there. And we have vehicles on standby the whole time. So it's all quite simple, really, if we needed to get you to any medical facilities. And we're compliant with BS 8848, which is basically the British standards for expeditions. And it's just a compliancy document to look at our levels of health and safety. And something for you to be aware of is that part of the training document, we have given you the medical statistics from last year in Dominica. So if you want to see kind of if we had any sprained ankles or stomach bugs or anything like that, there's a report there to show you any medical instances we had last year. Other things that I want you to consider, seatbelts should be worn at all times. So all of our vehicles have seatbelts in them. We will be spending some time kind of getting out and around the island and using vehicles to do that. It's not actually a legal requirement in Dominica to wear a seatbelt, but all of our vehicles do have seatbelts, and so we would be asking people to use those. We also have medical kits, small medical kits kept in all the vehicles when we are travelling, and any member of staff you're with will have a small medical kit as well. And then we're in close proximity for hospitals and medical facilities. And so there's small clinics within 15 minutes of both of the forest camps, and then the main hospital in Roseau is within 45 minutes, an hour of the forest camps. Up at the marine site, you are 10 minutes from the hospital in Portsmouth. So you're very close to hospital facilities. We have cars on standby if that was ever needed, but they do actually have ambulances in Dominica as well. We also have security guards at our sites. This is basically really just so we have somebody up at night time if anybody needs them. So we have guards who will kind of patrol the site at night time. So they come on at about 6 o'clock in the evening, just before it gets dark, and then they're there till 6 o'clock in the morning when it gets light again. So if anybody needs to get up in the middle of the night or has any worries, that there's always somebody up and kind of walking around camp 24 hours. For vaccinations, I do really need to kind of advise you to make sure that you go and see your travel nurse or doctor before you come out to Dominica. I'm not a doctor myself, so I can't give you absolute advice, but I can let you know the sorts of things that my travel nurse normally recommends to me. So tetanus and typhoid are usually recommended. One thing to bear in mind is that typhoid only lasts for 2 years. So if you have had that one before, it doesn't necessarily mean you're covered. It doesn't last for too long a period of time. Hepatitis A and B, they're a course of injection, so please make sure you think about doing that sooner rather than later. If you have been to any tropical countries in the last 5 years, you probably would have been recommended to have those vaccinations as well. Rabies is not required. If you choose to have it, that would be up to you. There is no rabies present in the dog population or cat populations in Dominica. The only thing is that it cannot be ruled out of bat populations simply because they can travel and fly. So it's very, very unlikely, but it can't be ruled out. For that reason, none of the students will handle any bats while they're on the project. We leave that to the researchers to handle them. So you're not going to come into contact with anything that could even potentially carry rabies. So that's just something to bear in mind. Malaria, there's none present in Dominica, so you do not need to take malaria prophylaxis. There are some other mosquito kind of borne diseases, such as dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. There aren't huge numbers of mosquitoes, so this isn't something I want everybody to get worried about. But the best thing is just to avoid getting bitten. And if anybody is feeling unwell, we're obviously very close to medical facilities if it was ever needed. But insect repellent, particularly in the evenings, and just keeping covered up is the best way. Please also, if you haven't done already, same as I have talked about before with the PADI forms, please go and put in your medical information on the Opwell portal. I'm at a point where I will start chasing people if they haven't done that, and give me all the information you have. If you have any medical information, just put it on there. The more I know, the better. It only goes through me and any medics that are on the project, but it's just so that we're fully prepared for you to be out on site, and that if we need to give you any extra information or need to send anything to our insurance company, we can. I just want to talk a little bit more about communications and just give you the numbers that you might need. So we do have a 24-hour emergency number. This is the UK office number. This will be answered 24 hours. Please use this for emergencies because obviously if it goes out off late at night, then it's going to worry whoever is on the other end of the line. During office hours, then give us a call for anything. That's no problem. So it is a UK number, so it'll be +44 1790 763 194. Out on site, all of our staff have got local phone numbers. I will be passing my number onto teachers as well once I get to Dominica and get a SIM card, so that will be in early June. And then our staff have a check-in and check-out system, and they provide me with an estimated time of arrival home. If they're not back during that time, I will contact them, make sure they're okay. So I keep an eye on where everybody is, and everybody has a mobile phone with them. And as I said, internet access is very limited, but I can send group emails if anybody wants me to. So if you've got an email you want me to send and kind of inform parents that everyone's got to Dominica and everyone's safe, that's fine. And at the end of this presentation, I've put my email address. So if you wanted to check in, then you can do that. So the last thing I want to mention is just a little bit about fitness. So I would definitely recommend thinking a little bit about a fitness program before you come to Dominica. The fitter you are, the more you're going to enjoy this program. It is physical. I'm never going to push you to things that you're not able to do, but the fitter you are, the more you will enjoy it. And you will feel tired. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We're going to be doing so many different things and doing lots of exercise, so you are going to be feeling tired at the end of the day. Do make sure you're confident in the water. We will have a swim test, so you need to be able to swim at least 200 meters without putting your feet on the floor, and you need to be able to tread water for 10 minutes as well. Just bear in mind that diving and snorkeling can be tiring as well, so it's not just going to be the trekking around in the forest. So do ever think about getting out walking, wearing your rucksack, going swimming, doing those types of things before you come out to the project. And just to finish off, here are my contact details. So if you have any questions about health and safety or anything else to do with Dominica, feel free to get in contact with me. My email address is charlotte.palmer@opwol.com. I'm going to be out there on the project with you guys and have been out there for the last few years. So do get in contact with me if you need anything at all. I'm going to be leaving for Dominica at right at the start of June, so probably 1st, 2nd of June. So if you do have questions, try and get them to me before kind of middle end of May, so that we can discuss anything before I head out there and everything starts becoming a lot busier. But I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody out there. And as I said, please do get in contact if you have any questions at all.